Morning guys, that is Bloodbaths Inlet behind me, about half an hour west of Bremer Bay. And back up there is Millers Point Campground, which is I think probably now my favourite place in the state, definitely my favourite place to camp. I haven't seen much of the state, but I'm definitely in the south coast. Lovely spot. Not a lot of people know about it, so I might be doing a bit of a disservice by doing a video here, but nonetheless I think it's an amazing place. And so while I was camping here on the last night of a bit of a return to country road trip is what I'm calling it, I thought I'd do a video. So I'm really going to lean into these sort of sunrise rant sort of things. I think I spend that much of my time taking in, what we call it, conspiratorial geopolitics, that I may as well try and translate that into information that can hopefully be helpful or interesting or entertaining and amusing, maybe, if that's all we can ask for these days, to other people. So yeah, don't know what I can call it, maybe like wholesome geopolitical conspiracy sunrise rants, or wholesome conspiratorial geopolitics sunrise rants, something along those lines. I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, let's do it. So I'm just gonna basically just go like freestyle here and just try and knock off as many different topics as I can. I've got a really nice walk, guys, for you. So I'm gonna take you for a walk to the campground, and then we're gonna finish at a really special place. It's about 5 minutes sort of down the track up there. I'm gonna finish with what I'm gonna call wholesome white artist formerly known as Kanye. It's gonna be good, so stick around for that. Alright, where should we start? Well, we have to start with the Jibby Jab, given it's my obsession. I'm doing my best to break away from that obsession recently. So the narrative is, I've said this before, but the narrative is well and truly collapsing. Wouldn't quite call it a collapse, I call it more of a, just like 9/11, more of a controlled demolition by this point. I think we've definitely, you know, a lot of us did a lot of hard work early on to crack that narrative, and now I think it's done and things will start to take their course. I don't think I don't think there's a need for a lot of us to keep putting that sort of energy, that energy of, like, you know, justice and sort of retribution and that sort of thing. I think there's people now who are going to do that, and who are sort of taking control of that narrative. I don't think it's helpful for us to really keep feeding that, and that might be a bit controversial, but that's all good. And I guess as an example, I give this that article which came out recently asking for an amnesty, a Rona amnesty. Got to all come together and sing John Lennon and smoke the peace pipe around a bonfire and hold hands, and we'll all be fine. The last 2.5 years didn't happen. Now look, there are people who believe that way, who don't actually understand fully what's gone on over the last 2.5 years, and this isn't about them. This is about the people who orchestrated this stuff and know exactly what was going on and are now trying to find a way out. And that's one way to understand what this article was. My little humble little camp site here, nice views. But another way to understand it is that this is now the part where there will be people who will try to make the most of this period of the PSYOP. So I'm pretty much the only one here. It was pretty windy last night, so I think that kept people away, which is nice. So I basically had it to myself. There are people up there. You see, that's where the caretaker actually has like a proper, well, not a proper, has reasonable drop long drop toilets, and also a caretaker, really a nice dude who comes around on his buggy to collect money and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's a lovely place. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so this narrative now where we're going to have articles, these sort of troll articles come out, which are designed to deliberately fan the flames, would be how I would put it. And if you look at what that article did, you know, it was everywhere on social media, you know, Telegram, Twitter, released Elon Twitter, gradually transitioning everyone towards the metaverse. It was everywhere, and it really kicked off this whole, we're gonna fucking get him. This is it. No, we're not copying this. Like military tribunals, like Nuremberg 2.0. These fuckers aren't getting away with this. You saw it straight away what the reaction was. Not everyone. So we got people. I give a shout out to Beck from Dystopian Down Under, who has an Instagram profile and a Substack, Dystopian Down Under. She does a great job of like factually reporting this stuff, but then also bringing in the memes and the humour to sort of, you know, just tone things down. That's really important at the stage that we're in now, to just not let things get out of control. And I think that's the most important role that we can play now, is to sort of try and keep that balance and keep things steady, because it's going to get nasty, guys. You know, like, I know a lot of people got really frustrated and were like, oh no, we're never going to see this thing end and stuff. No, it is like it. One thing that I've learned from talking to, you know, a variety of different people, is that a lot of people do see most of what's been going on, but it's not their issue to speak out on. And so we might see that as, you know, people not getting it, or sort of still being compliant. But it's just that these issues are not easy to speak out about, and a lot of people just aren't in the position to do it. And so it's not that they don't see it, they do. And it may be a lot of these people who actually complied and went along and, you know, took bullets for their family, who are going to be the ones who are really pushing this sort of backlash stage pretty hard. So I think we need to be aware of that, and just sort of, you know, start to, yeah, just sort of keep things steady as we can, as things start to ramp up a bit. Such a lovely spot here. Hopefully I've timed it well enough we can get a decent sunrise a bit later on, so that you can actually see that's the end of the inlet. That's where it goes out into the ocean. So this is a really calm spot. You see lots of people sort of take their boats out and go out there. Yes. Anyway, so yeah, like the backlash is coming. Like we started to see it in a political sense already. It's interesting what's happening in Brazil at the moment. Again, I don't really care about their politics too much, but you saw that the left-wing candidate got in, and Bolsonaro, who was the conservative candidate, just lost, and we got this sort of populist uprising now there of people claiming that the election wasn't fair. And I guess it's sort of following on from what's going on in America and what we're about to see in America. I think things are really about to get very interesting there. As an aside, like American politics, you know, like I've been told I pay too much attention to American politics, but it's too fucking good to not pay attention to, guys. Like, so Nancy Pelosi, who is basically the third in line for the presidency, behind Sleepy Joe and I won't say Kamala's nickname, just we'll call her Kamala. Like, someone apparently, as far as the media would say, some sort of MAGA, Q-tard, loony, right-wing loony, broke into her house. Remember, this is the third most important person in America. Apparently he just broke into her secured complex and went after her husband, Paul Pelosi, with a hammer, and was saying, "Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy?" So we got this narrative about that sort of right wing, you know, all this rhetoric from the right wingers and from the conservatives to sort of, you know, tearing America apart and leading to violence and stuff. This was like literally this guy's either gay lover or he picked up a prostitute. And again, like, do what you want, I don't care. I'm sure there's many politicians who have these tastes, put it that way, and I don't care. Be fucking honest about it, and don't try and manipulate these situations for, you know, shameless political gains. Just like a certain other former American president, you know, if that person's actually gay and married to a biological man, then I don't care. I don't care about that. Good for them. But be honest about it. Don't lie to the whole world's population and try and make yourself out of something that you're not. Anyway, let's leave that. So anyway, yeah, America is amazing right now. It's going to get really interesting there, because it's like it has to, because what we've seen in the last 2.5 years, we've seen lots of things, but it's been the start of the trail. What it's mainly been, I think, has been an assault on natural law, assault on the body, like the ability of created bodies to be sufficient in themselves to survive and to thrive. And that is, that is what the jab agenda is ultimately about. Not just the Rona jabs, but in general, it is this transhumanistic move towards the body not being enough, towards nature not being enough. We need science to intervene. And on top of that, we've had the mandate issue, where my arm's getting sore. I haven't done one this long in a while. This sort of impingement on free will, and free will is central to natural law. And when you do that, free will is the ultimate fuck around and find out. If you mess with free will, you're going to mess with the natural order things. You are going, as good as guide as any that we have in this pretty interesting world that we live in, that's going to come around and bite you. And so that's what's going to happen. We've had the left, let's call it the left globalist wing of geopolitics be in control, and you haven't done a good job, guys. You really haven't. You let it go to your heads, didn't you? Just couldn't resist. And it's not. This thing, it's not. And so now we're going to see this balance out. This sort of compensation, or the swinging of the pendulum the other way. And that's why I'm sort of saying this is a really important time for us to try and just slow that sort of that swing back, because it's going to happen. And we're going to see, I think right-leaning nationalist political movements really take off in most major Western nations, the ones which have sort of really fallen victim to this ideology over the last 3 years. And it's going to be completely different, guys, and it's going to happen. I know, and if we're aware of it, we can observe it and be ready for it, and just see, take the good parts of it, and there will be good parts. But extremism breeds extremism, especially if it's unchecked and not held morally accountable. And we see that. So if we go to places like Iran, for example, where we see a really strong and I would say encouraging, populist pushback against the morality police that's been set up there. So the opposite. That's what could be happening in 5 years' time in Western countries if we have, conservative Christian people who start, governments who start to enforce morals on people, or completely ban abortion. Again, abortion's an interesting issue, but you separate the morality from the governance of it. You can disagree with something, you can disagree vehemently with late-term abortion and still not believe that government has a right to intervene. And so in Iran, like, you know, I've seen a lot of people with similar views to me saying that what's going on in Iran is, you know, this sort of CIA psyop, and the CIA loves nothing. No, CIA loves a regime change in the Middle East more than a fat kid loves cake. So I've got no doubt that they're in there trying to foment mischief. But you go and tell a Persian woman who's been one of the most oppressed minorities in the world that this isn't real and this isn't a genuine populist uprising. Good luck with that, mate. I'm not sure how many of my Persian friends watch these videos, but yeah, anyway. You know, these things are real, you know, it's not limited to either side of the political spectrum. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So I think we need to be aware that things might start to shift quite quickly, and then we might find ourselves with a new role to play, whatever our role has been, because I know I'm not just talking to sort of freedom, anti-Jibby Jab people here. I know hopefully I've got more diverse people than that watching. Yeah, so I've done pretty well to tick off some pretty decent geopolitical stuff there. So I have arrived at Crocodile Rock. This is the third time I've camped at Miller's Point. First time I came here, I actually met up with a few guys who were staying here, and one guy took me here first thing in the morning and basically told me the story of what this place represents. I can't remember all of it, unfortunately, but essentially it's a sacred site for the local indigenous people. I think it was basically an initiation site for young people, which I find really interesting because it's been an initiation site for me as well. First time I came here, and when this guy took me here and told me the story, I felt like I was initiated into country. It's the first time I felt a real proper relationship with the land, or with the sort of the Southwest Australia landscape. A meaningful, you know, sort of like almost spiritual relationship. And the second time I came here was actually I stopped here with Chanel, and we, on the way to my first political event when I decided to run on a whim for politics. And we came here on the way to Albany, and then came here in the morning. She took an amazing profile pic, which is on my main accounts. And I felt that was like an initiation for me into a new stage of my life, you know, putting my mug out there and doing videos like this. So I think that's why I really love this place, and I really feel a special connection to it. And so before I go on this space, I want to pay my respects to the land, to the landscape, to the spirit of the land, and to the original custodians of this land, our Indigenous brothers and sisters. And it's such a shame that this idea of acknowledgement of country has been so politicised, because there's an absolute fundamental truth that lies at the heart of it. You know, this knowledge, this wisdom about the land, which is locked up, that's the wrong word, but which is sort of kept safe, maybe within hopefully kept safe within Indigenous culture. And if we're able to access that, if we're able to find, you know, to gain enough trust of these people, of these elders, to access that information and use it, or that knowledge and use it, is going to be good for all of us. It's going to help us heal the land and live in harmony there. And yeah, that's what I believe. Whether there's actually a place for the official, you know, like woke, welcome to country, acknowledge of country, I don't know, but hopefully we can find, enough of us can still find that wisdom that lies at the heart of it. Without further ado, that. What an amazing place. You see the colours there. You can see obviously, the sort of the yellow and the red, really strong indigenous colours obviously, but the idea of it being an initiation site and that sort of blood red, yeah, interesting, isn't it? What this site might have represented. I actually came here when I knew I was going to be doing this video. I came here sort of last night, walked here with my lantern and just sort of stood there on the rock, and I'm not entirely sure what, just to sort of hopefully bring myself into alignment with the landscape, and that when I came here in the morning to do my Wholesome white artist formerly known as Kanye rant, that it will be done in the right spirit. It will be supported by the land. It will help to sort of in some way, I don't know, help to bring balance to things, and so that's what I hope to be doing with this. So anyway, I think I've talked about everything else that I need to. So yes, for those who are not aware, yay. If we could call them ye, it'd be better, because we could call it like ye too. Hashtag ye too. Anyway, artist formerly known as Kanye. He went nuclear and he started to talk about the Jews and Zionism and Israel, which is always fun, isn't it? And regardless of what you think of Ye, I think he's the second most interesting person in the world behind Orange Man. That's just my opinion. He's done us a great service by bringing this out into the public, because it's something we actually need to start to talk about and get our heads around, because have a seat. We can do this. Oh, look at that. Hopefully I do get a bit of a sunrise. Yeah, so what Ye pointed out was that people who claim Jewish heritage are disproportionately represented in institutions like the media, politics, of this century. I would claim some of the stuff he's done. He's written songs about, he did an EP where he fantasised about killing his wife, and which starts to make a bit more sense now. But he's done some things, and that was enough to get cancelled. But now saying that, pointing out the objective fact that people who claim either Jewish heritage or who have close allegiances, political allegiances to Israel, have a disproportionate influence on the world. And that's not anti-Semitism, that's statistical analysis, for want of a better word. And so we need to actually, part of the whole issue with this COVID stuff, this Rona stuff, has been, the prioritisation of being nice and not offending people over telling the truth. And it's not going to get us anywhere. And so what Ye's done is actually bring this to the top of the public consciousness, and now we can start to work through this. And it's going to be not nice, especially if you have Jewish heritage. I don't, that I know of, but I don't know too many people who do. But it's going to be tough for them, because this has been this whole anti-Semitism thing has been weaponized to stop valid criticism of political Zionism, and also certain aspects of Jewish culture, which a lot of people don't agree with, and which have started to sort of get root in many Western societies. So we need to be able to acknowledge that fact, but also still at the same time, that's a reality that exists in the collective, in the political collective. It doesn't really have any impact, I think, on how we live our everyday lives, how we judge people, how we deal with people. And that applies not to everything to do with race, whether it's white people or dark people or Jewish people or whatever it is. There's certain political aspects to race, and then there's the personal aspects to race. And I think separate the two, and still have what can be difficult conversations, but still come back to this sort of human side of things. Things really don't matter. These differences between race and skin color, what culture you come from. We all have our own burdens and baggage that we have to overcome. And certainly people, Jewish descent, will have some challenges coming up. It's mainly because the elites of their culture have gaslighted the world for so long. Underlings, as always happens, are the ones who are going to have the brunt of it, which is unfortunate. Wasn't much of a wholesome white artist known as Kanye. I don't know, I wanted to sort of get that out there. But the main reason, the point of this is because it's less about Jews as such, it's more about Israel, because what we're going to find in a geopolitical sense, which is what I'm doing here. Did I show you those cliffs? Amazing cliff face just there. Hello birds. Here we go. We might get a bit of a sunrise here. All roads lead to Israel. That's how I would put it. This stuff that's going on with Russia and Ukraine now, I mean, it is serious and it is despicable what is going on. I mean, I'm no fan of the germ conspiracists or the people pushing this virus and Jibby Jab bollocks, but I think the war-mongering conspiracists take the cake. Do you reckon? There's nothing like unnecessarily sending young people off to be slaughtered on a muddy battlefield somewhere for no good reason. What Western leaders are doing to inflame this proxy war is unforgivable. Unforgivable. It needs to be called out for what it is. But at the same time, and so just on that, I do listen to a lot of stuff about this. It's not that Ukraine aren't winning, which I know a lot of media still says that they are. Russia's collapsing and Putin's losing the pot, whatever. It's not that Ukraine aren't winning. Ukraine can't win. The terms of the war and the geopolitical situation is that they can't win. It's not possible. And you see, like Zelensky, who is the president of Ukraine, he's a Western puppet. He was selected and inserted. He's not a democratic leader. They send the Ukraine army on offensives, and so it looks like they're making gains and stuff, and so that they coordinate and they focus their manpower in a certain place, and then they use that as PR to say, oh look, we're winning, we can win this, so send us more money, send us more tanks and fucking weapons so we can blow up more Russians. They're literally sacrificing people for PR to get more money to continue this war, because that's how they roll. It's a military industrial complex. It's a loose harvesting complex. They want to continually perpetuate war. It's what they do. Sorry to say it. It's what they're doing right now in Ukraine and Russia. And Russia's going to win, probably in what about Putin? Putin understands war. He's based. He understands these things, and he said it. Ukraine won't be a thing. He's basically said that soon. So anyway, that's happening, but it's not a distraction. That is the encore or the sideshow. And what we're seeing, if you're paying attention to what's going on in the Middle East, is that the battle lines are being drawn, between, I guess, the Arab countries, and also Israel and Israel's sort of backers in the West. And that's where it's going to be. That's where World War III is going to be. It's been predicted by many people that World War III will be the Middle East. It'll be Islam versus, Christian Zionism, I guess. It's going to happen, and if you start to look at world events through that lens, you might start to find that they make more sense. So that's why I saved Israel for last. For anyone who knows the Q drops, and I'm unashamed. Oh, I'm running out of battery. I've done pretty well. I'm an unashamed Q-tard from back in the day. One of the most controversial Q drops was "We're saving Israel for last." And many people thought that was anti-Semitism, and it might be, but it's also just a reflection of biblical reality, of prophecy, is that it all comes down to Israel. It's all going to be about Israel and Israel's place in the world, and whether you're for or against them. So we're going to be set for World War III, and then the Antichrist, and then the Apocalypse, if you believe the Bible. And you don't have to. I didn't for a long time, and I think it's the best. It is the best spiritual and prophetic guidebook we have for what's about to come. And I would suggest, I'll do my best to explain it. I'm no scholar, Bible scholar, with no means. I'm learning. I'm doing the best I can. But I think this is what's happening. I think the people who run our world do so according to these prophecies. And whether these prophecies are fulfilled by God or by the simulation, it's just code in the simulation, or whether they're just fulfilled deliberately by the elites of the world to fool us and to troll us or whatever. I don't know, but I think the best guide we have for what is coming is in the Bible, which is itself based on other prophetic texts from Samaria, and the Gnostic texts and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's. I'm at 33 minutes. I didn't finish at 33 minutes and 33 seconds. But I hope you enjoyed that, guys. I hope you enjoyed the walk and the rant. Let me know if. I won't go for 33 seconds. It's all good. I love my numerology. Yeah. Hopefully, if you made it to the end, thanks for watching this whole time. I know maybe this is a third initiation where I actually start to do serious, wholesome, white, conspiratorial, geopolitics, sunrise rants as a thing. We'll see. Let me know if you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions of places to visit or things to talk about. Yeah, until then, final words of wisdom. It's going to get interesting, guys. Like, honestly, I think we're at it seems a bit cliche to say, we are at a precipice. And if you sort of, see things as like a pendulum sort of swinging back and forth, I think we're sort of gone, where's left, and now we're sort of back about here, and we're about to really, gain pace and go boom. So, yeah, I think be aware of these things, of what's coming. Hold space, be grounded, be in nature, work on community building. So one thing I really what I want to do as a local representative is to work on community building initiatives, trying to organise things where people can bring forward a vision that they might have for ways to build a sense of community, to build connection, and then sort of create a space for people to, put their ideas forward and for other people to then hopefully help them and get on board. So that's things I have in mind coming up. But yeah, watch the midterms. Wednesday morning, our time, it'll be. And then let's see how things play out from there. So it could be a domino effect. We could see if it sort of does go hard towards the Republicans in America. We could see the similar thing happen. So we could see, we got the Victorian elections at the end of this month, and you never know, guys. They're already leaking against Dan the man-child Andrews. And so if they chuck him under the bus over the next 3 weeks before the election, you don't know what's going to happen. And if we have this momentum building, this sort of backlash thing is real. It's going to happen. And so if that builds, there's nothing more powerful in politics than a narrative, and this backlash narrative is going to be huge. And so keep an eye on, so to the freedom candidates who are running in the Victorian election, get ready. You're in this. This isn't the federal election from last year, where to a large extent, and like it or not, we were going through the motions in a political sense. We didn't really have much of a chance of making inroads, but it's different now. Things have changed. 6 months of water under the bridge, of people waking up, of people getting pissed at what's gone on, and you just never know. So, yep, that's my advice, whatever it's worth. Not a bad sunrise. Be even better if the clouds weren't quite there. Yeah, so that's about it. I'm going to leave you with one of the most main memories I have the first time I came here. I came here in the sunrise. I looked out at the sun there. I was like, that sun ain't millions of miles away. It's local, guys. Just saying.